The risks that we're talking about are both reputation and brand as well as financial. Family offices are built on generations of hard work and diligence, and it's really not just only about protecting the legacy of the family, but also the investments that have been made.
My name is Kevin Alvezi. I am a director at CrossCountry Consulting within our Sage Intacct practice.
My name is Cameron Over. I'm a partner in CrossCountry's risk advisory practice.
One of the things that we often hear as we are supporting family office customers are some of the concerns and risks that they should be aware of from a cybersecurity perspective.
When I think of family offices and their businesses, they're really just smaller financial services institutions. Depending on clients and their vendors, there's the element of investment portfolios as well. As technology is advancing, security and technology are often not at the forefront of consideration by businesses and families, but that large concentration of wealth and data, coupled with typically minimal investment in that space, really creates a rich and attractive ground for threat actors to take advantage of.
A recent study said about 1 out of every 4 family offices have been victims to cybersecurity breaches, and many of those over the past 12 months.
The risks that we're talking about are both reputation and brand as well as financial. Family offices are built on generations of hard work and diligence, and it's really not just only about protecting the legacy of the family, but also the investments that have been made. With social engineering, it's always been, or at least for the past 20 years or so, a really rich ground for open source intelligence gathering, which is the cool term that the security industry uses. Essentially, it's taking available information that's out there on the web and in social media outlets to hone in on how they want to attack or trick whoever it is they're going after. Think about younger folks that might be putting a lot of information on Instagram or Facebook. Think about perhaps the business owner themselves. They're doing talks or they're putting things out on the web about their investments or their partnerships. So that's always been a rich area for social engineering attacks to look real when they hit your inbox or when they hit your phone or you get that phone call or text message. They're coming from many different angles. And then there's also the concept of deep fake. And that is the technology is now able to mimic voices and personalities. And the technology is so easy to use. It just makes it that much more available to the hacker.
Any suggestions for family offices specifically who are trying to create more of a framework around cybersecurity prevention?
At the highest level, I'll go back to the concept of digital hygiene, understanding what information you're putting out into the world and that your family is putting out into the world, because that is what generally an attacker is going to be looking for. And that includes things about your personal life. It also includes things about your business, new changes to your business that might alert someone with ill intentions to look at your business and try to take a crack at it. Another thing is private equity sponsorship. As soon as it hits the newswire that perhaps more funds are coming into a business, that's another great indicator that your profile has raised, and so also has perhaps the likelihood that you're going to be targeted. Another would be, and these are more sort of building blocks of what an organization should consider, are of course passwords. So there's some great tools out there that can be used as password vaults. It's really important to keep business passwords separate from personal passwords and other sorts of accounts like healthcare. So that's relatively simple and something that organizations should be able to implement with relatively low cost. Another would be things like virtual private networks, multi-factor authentication, and single sign-on where possible. Many people work from home a lot. They're using a common router with their children. If their children are gaming, they might be bringing vulnerabilities in from the web. Someone with enough motivation could potentially use that as a way to get into your devices, both a typical laptop or mobile devices. It might mean at some point that you need to get some expert help to make sure that you're looking at the full holistic view of what as an organization and family you have that is susceptible.
And I know you mentioned a bit on the process side. Anything as it relates to the people side of things, how can they have a general sense of security awareness?
Education and awareness is certainly critical. It's important that it's right-sized for your organization because there's certainly a lot of material and educational information out there. I would think about specifics to the business and the family. Think about people on both sides. That would extend, of course, to family members that have any access to data or access to the network or putting data or information out there, as well as, of course, employees and executives. Sometimes our highest level executives are so busy, they figure, oh, that's someone else's job. That's an IT concern. And it's really not. You don't need a 100-page incident response plan, but it is important to know what, as an organization and as a family, you will do when something happens. We try to think of it in terms of you've either been hacked or you don't know it yet. So making sure you understand what you're going to do in a variety of scenarios that might be most likely from an attack perspective or a data loss perspective. What are the steps that you would take to reach out to a variety of entities, whether that be your legal team, your insurance team, of course, your IT and security team. Very likely when an incident occurs, you have to bring in a separate digital forensics team to fully understand if the incident has been contained and eradicated, what data has been viewed, what data has been exfiltrated from the environment. It's just really important to understand what are those top scenarios, how you would handle it, who you would reach out to. And that could be just a couple pages, but making sure that on an annual basis, that organization knows what they would do in that event. And then of course, they keep that refreshed over time as the organization grows and changes.
Cybersecurity insurance, is that something family offices should consider having?
My recommendation would be have an educated conversation with your insurance broker. Ask the question of, hey, if we were ransomed, if there was a breach or an incident, what and how would my insurance currently cover that? They should be able to explain to you in relative detail how that would work with your current coverage. And if they don't offer it or they don't have a good answer, then you should consider supplemental insurance. There are a lot of benefits to having cyber insurance, not of course just the coverage, but also they have very strong relationships with specialized law firms, specialized forensics teams that know exactly what to do and handle those sorts of incidents every day. And the key is that you want to be as resilient to these things as possible. You just want to be as prepared as possible and know that people, process, and technology are in the right place, but also from other types of risk management that you have the appropriate insurance on your side as well.